And we're back. Hello, and welcome back to the program. So, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the news rewrite of the week. This is where I take an article that I've read, and I see the way it's written, and I basically work my magic to redo the article in a more positive light. And the article that I chose is an article that was on the CTV News. It's a really good article. I think it gives an adequate view of both sides of an issue. But I'm going to focus only on the positive sides of things. So here we are. Let's have a look. There it is. So, I almost forgot. I can't. I believe it because it happened. I almost forgot. Good thing I made notes. Today's show is brought to you by. Are you excited? I can tell you're excited. What is today's show brought to you by? Today's show is brought to you by the letter D and the number 3. The letter D may have its origins in the Egyptian hieroglyph for door, which later became the Phoenician letter of Daleth, later the Greek letter delta, and then the Etruscan D. So that's kind of interesting that our letter D may have its origins in a door. That'd be kind of cool, right? Also, the number 3. The number 3 gets its shape from having 3 lines, 1, 2, 3. Very similar to how the Chinese symbol for 3 is shown. And what's neat is that the number 3 is a very special number in a lot of religions. It's significant as the 3 jewels of Buddhism, the Holy Trinity in Christianity, the triple goddess of Wicca. Luck is known to come in 3s. You know, they say everything comes in 3s. Good things come in 3s. Bad things come in 3s. The number 3 is good luck in Chinese culture. It sounds very similar to the word for alive. And it also is a number of completeness. 3 days is when Jesus was supposed to have risen. In the Bible, in the Judeo-Christian Bible, the number 3 is used a lot to represent completeness. So the number 3, that's what today's show is brought to you by. Now let's get to the news rewrite of the week. How do you survive loss? So this article is about a flood that hit Alberta on June 20th of last year, and a lot of people lost their homes. I chose to just pull out the things that people said that helped them survive loss. You can read more of the article on ctvnews.ca. The people that support you and the family that supports you, that's what gets you through it. That's what one person said. Another gentleman mentioned the rest of us who are here want to be resilient. Some people, they didn't want to stay in the area. They picked up and they moved. But there were those who chose to stay and those who chose to be resilient and say, I'm going to pick myself back up. I'm going to get things going again. This was another thing that someone said, the outpouring of help. This was a remarkable story about a business. It was a wine bottling business, and they had lost a lot of their inventory. They lost a very expensive and aged inventory. And they talked about the amazing outpouring of help when they had an event. They had customers and people in the neighborhood help. They had competing wine stores, even ones that they weren't on a friendly basis, calling and saying, can we send staff down to help? Is there anything we can do? It amazes me what we do for each other in a time of loss. And what I'm going to say is the encouraging thing to focus on for this week is think of someone that you can help when it's not a time of loss. We've been talking a lot this week about doing kind things for others, taking time to help strangers. When someone's in need, I think there's a part of us that reaches out to that. There have been psychological studies showing, for example, with monkeys. They tested on monkeys when they hear sadness from another monkey, when they hear pain. They actually have a reflexive response to not want to cause that other monkey pain. The study actually was done where the monkeys were all provided food if they pushed a button. And what they did in the study is if you pushed a button, a random other animal would get shocked, and the other monkeys could hear it. So the first time it happened, not the monkey in question that pushed it, but another random monkey would get a mild shock. This is a study done, I think, in the 50s. I don't believe they do studies that involve this kind of harm to animals anymore. I sincerely hope they don't. What the interesting thing is that some monkeys responded very differently. Some monkeys, for example, chose to not eat food. They just gave up eating so that no one else would get hurt. Other monkeys showed a distinct decrease in their eating, just so that they could avoid causing harm to others. We have this built into us when it involves harm. And what I'm suggesting is maybe we can start focusing on doing this when times are good. Maybe we can go out of the way. So what I'm going to suggest is maybe find someone with whom you are normally in competition and do something nice for them. Find yourself doing something nice for someone that maybe you don't get along with so well. Perhaps there are other ways that you can do something really kind. Go out of your way to help somebody for free with nothing coming back to you whatsoever. The best kind acts to do maybe are even just to do them without even knowing your name. Wouldn't that be a nice thought? So if you have any of these thoughts or things that have happened to you, please email them to me to wewin@timeconsultinginc.com. You can also, of course, subscribe to our newsletter, as I'm showing there. And now I'm going to bring us to the last major segment of today's show, Funday Monday, one of my favorites. I call it the positive rephrase of the week. So every week I'm going to give you sort of a sentence, a common everyday sentence that people tend to say, and then I'm going to take a look at how we can rephrase it. Excuse me there. I'm just going to make this a little bigger. There we go. Make that bigger. And I find I'm a teacher by training. I was an educator. And what I've found is this is a very common phrase. Don't do blank. Don't do that. Don't grab the stove. Don't do this. Don't go outside. You know? The issue is we're telling, for example, a child or each other what not to do. Don't play your music at this time of night. Don't do this. And it focuses a lot on what they shouldn't do. What becomes unclear is what you should do. And especially when it comes to children, but I think people in general, we want to know what is it we're supposed to do. So instead of saying, don't go outside, you could say, stay indoors for an extra hour, or stay indoors between this time and this time. Instead of saying, don't play your music so loud, say, hey, have you thought of wearing headphones? Because that gives you the volume you want and me the peace I need. People are very interested in working and living well with others while at the same time enjoying the things that they love. So, for example, when you're at work and your boss says, I don't want you to take long breaks. My emphasis here is on the word don't. Do not. I actually am working in my own life to take out the contraction not and to focus instead on what can I do? What is it that is good to do? What should I be doing? Tell me what to do. Recently someone gave me a correction. They said, hey, you have a mistake here. Okay, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. What can I do to do it better? Now we're talking about what I'm calling a constructivist statement. You're building something instead of breaking. So instead, focus on do this. Take your life and focus on what you should do. And for others, I want you to talk nicer to me. Instead of don't talk back to me, say, hey, would you mind waiting your turn when we're speaking? Would you mind waiting for that? So that's the phrase of the week. Instead of saying don't do this, don't do that, start talking about do. Start your sentence with do this. Or I would like you to do this. Or have you thought of trying? I don't particularly enjoy the word try. Have you thought of doing it this way? Have you thought of doing it differently? Because sometimes you might find that they have, and there's a reason why they're doing it the way they are. And that kind of dialogue is really going to make a big difference. So, let's get to the wrap-up of our show. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk a bit about tension. We're going to talk about tension, the physics concept, how it relates to your everyday life. On Wednesday, we're going to look at the phrase, you are what you think. You are what you think. What does that mean? And on Friday, it's going to be at a different time. It's going to be at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the topic is focus, opportunity gain or opportunity loss. Tolly and I are going to discuss that. My good friend and colleague, Tolly Shapiro. Again, sign up for our newsletter, timeconsultinginc.com/newsletter, or you can email the show at wewin@timeconsultinginc.com. Send us an email, picture, or video of you helping make someone smile. That's what next Monday's show is going to be. We're going to focus on how do you make someone smile. I want pictures, emails, videos, anything you have that you feel helps make someone smile. So, wrapping up with today's show, lots of positive things out there. If you have any positive news, positive information, or positive ideas, please send them over to me at wewin@timeconsultinginc.com. Before I wrap up today's show, just going to take a quick peek and check the emails to see if anyone has sent anything in today. I did not check that. Let's take a look. Okay. It's going to take me a little bit here. Let's see. There it is. Always takes a few extra seconds here sometimes. And here we are, pulling it up. Okay, pulling it in. Let's have a look. Okay, and we're seeing no emails for now. So there you are. That's fun. Nice and easy Monday. Take time this week to smile and take time this week to find the positive in life. I want to thank you for joining us today on Monday, June 16th. And remember, find the joy in today. There is enough to worry about.